Hi, thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman, and I'm a bit gay. No, I'm a lot gay. So I just finished a workshop for 2 days where we went through and we were talking about what AI could do to kind of help us with our jobs. So I think a lot of people are having these conversations, with their teams and with their companies and probably thinking about it. And, like for my podcast, I do use some AI for things, but, not a lot, but I do use some AI. And could AI do this podcast? No, because I'm interviewing people and it's like, I really, when I'm interviewing somebody, I write down kind of a few topics I want to cover. I think of maybe a couple of questions, but like I have a conversation with someone. So AI can't do that, at least yet. But they can, come up. If I said come up with questions, I guess they could. I haven't done that before, but they could come up with questions for the interview for me, but they couldn't actually talk. And it's like, then it would sound robotic. It wouldn't sound like a real interview if AI just came up with questions for me. I just was asking them. It would be a boring interview and nobody would be listening to this. But it did make me think, like, in 10 years, the stuff that I'm doing, not outside of my podcast, will AI be able to do a lot of it? Probably a lot of it. Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're always going to need somebody to do it, but I don't know if you're going to need like a whole team of people to do some of this work that I do outside of this podcast. So it's very interesting that I think a lot of people are thinking that. And, I've heard of people losing their jobs because AI, I don't know anybody personally, but like, oh, my friend or my friend's son or whatever lost his job because AI is doing his job. So I've heard this happening already, which is a little scary. So I also think that the world's just going to change. But, this happens all the time. When computers came, I think people thought that their jobs were going to be eliminated, and that didn't happen. And, I think you're always going to need people, but maybe not. Maybe we'll be in a world where people are giving things, doing things to make the world better and not necessarily working. And, like I think about Star Trek. This isn't like in Star Trek, nobody is getting paid to do stuff. Everybody just does stuff to make the universe or planet or whatever they're on better. So wouldn't that be awesome if we didn't have to go to work to make money and everybody was like kind of like equal and had housing and food and stuff? Like I'm off in another world today thinking of this stuff, but AI just been in my mind a lot lately. And there's this online 7-day course I was starting to take because, Chat GPT is the one I know about. And that's basically what they said. People my age, that's what they know. They know Chat GPT. But there's about, 25 other great AI tools that we don't know about or we don't use. And this course I'm using, you're supposed to take it once a day for 7 days. I haven't been doing a great job with that. But I got through 2 of them. One was just kind of about Chat GPT and things you can do to set it up better. And then the second one was about you can make websites. You can just like go in and this AI tool will make you a full website. You just kind of say what you want and give it ideas and it will give you something. Then you can say, nope, I want you to change this and this. And it makes updates. There's another AI tool that you can actually make an app. You can code a whole app and create an app. And I have a friend that I think he is actually using an AI tool to develop an app. And, you say what it wants to do. And I think there's a lot of refinement that you have to do because it's going to probably the first thing AI gives you. It's not going to be fantastic or anywhere near perfect. And then you got to keep giving prompts to make it better and to make it a little better and to make it a little better. And then I guess eventually it listens to what you have to say and it makes it. So I was thinking about redoing my website for my podcast. So, because I think it's kind of simple. Not that I need anything much more than what it is, but I might try to build a website using AI. Maybe that's what I'll do. I just like having a conversation with myself and putting more things to do in my list. But that's what I'm going to do. I am going to try to build my podcast website to redesign it using AI. After I go through and learn more about the AI tool that does that. So when you see a new website or when I have a new website launch, I'll let you know and you can go and look at it. You can give me feedback on what you think about it. But let's talk about my guest today because I really, really liked him. He is a new person that is new to podcast. He's got a podcast. And when I say new, he's probably 7 months being into podcasting. But what's super amazing about this guy is that he started going through the list of people he's interviewed. And I made a list for myself several months ago, like at the end of 2025, of people that I would like to interview. And there were so many people that were on this list, on my list, that he's already interviewed. Margaret Cho, he's interviewed. Great. I love her. Jane Lynch wasn't on my list, but would love to interview her. He's interviewed Jane Lynch. He's got an amazing guest that he's had on, and he's a good interviewer. And he worked kind of behind the scenes in television, radio, I believe. And he was, he has all these contacts. He was like producing a morning show. He was so solid in the interview, and just I thought he was fascinating, and I really like him. And I think I listen to a show now. Like whenever I usually have time in my morning when I'm having coffee at my desk and just doing emails and stuff. And I'll tell Alexa to play a podcast. And now he's one of the podcasts that I listen to. And his intros are so good. So he does like what I'm doing now, where you're giving an intro before the podcast episode starts. And he's so timely with what he's talking about because he doesn't have a backlog of podcasts yet like I do, but he's really amazing at his intros and the way he interviews, and he's really great. His name is Kyle Ridley. The name of his podcast is Tangle with Kyle Ridley, and he's on all podcast platforms. So check him out. He's on my podcast list. And so when Spotify gives me my 2026, these are the things you've listened to, he's going to be in the top 5 of who I've listened to this year. So enjoy the podcast with me and Kyle talking. And again, I love it when I have another podcaster or somebody that's got good equipment and that I don't have audio issues and camera issues. And it was an easy interview because he knew how to talk and have a conversation also. And Kyle's great. So thanks so much for listening. Talk to you soon. Hi, thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. My guest today is a fellow entertainer or in the entertainment business. Is that how I would describe you, Kyle?
I think so. Media, yeah.
Yeah, media. And you have your own podcast that you're working on?
Yeah, I do. It's called The Tangle with Kyle Ridley. It's more of a celebrity-driven podcast, but we also cover a lot of LGBTQ issues as you do.
Awesome. So thanks for being on. I'm trying to think how we met. Did I find you on a website or
I think
Instagram?
You did. I think it might have been a website.
Okay. Yeah. And so I loved your profile. I love the whole pop culture thing because I love that. You had some interesting things and I just thought you'd be an amazing guest, which I'm sure you will be.
Oh, fast friends.
Yes, exactly. So you spent a long time telling other people's stories, and now you're kind of stepping into wanting to get kind of from behind the camera and tell your own in a way, right? So tell me about that. Like what inspired that?
Yeah, well, I spent 20 years in journalism. So I started in print journalism and worked at newspapers throughout my 20s, freelancing, and started in high school writing for the local paper. When I was in college, I interned in LA at NBC and also the Dr. Phil show. And
Awesome.
Then just when I turned 30, I was like, that broadcasting itch, I needed to scratch it again. So I was like, let me try to get back into TV, and then worked my way into local news in the DC area where I live. And for the last 10 years, I was a morning show producer. So those 3 a.m. wake ups and writing my own hour show every morning and prepping the anchors for these interviews. And then I turned 40 last year and I got that itch again. And so now I'm stepping out from being in the control room. And so I started my own podcast. And now these 3 or 4 minute interviews that I was prepping anchors to do, now I can do in depth, like an hour-long sit down with some cool people. And I'm loving it.
Who are you interviewing?
So some of my favorites, I made a whole master list of like dream guests. So I've checked a few of those off. Yeah. But like Dustin Lance Black, who wrote Milk, the screenwriter.
Yeah.
If you're a 90s kid, you may remember The Real World, New Orleans. I interviewed Danny Roberts like a month or 2 ago.
Man, he was on my list. How did you get him? He will not respond to my DMs.
He's pretty private. So a lot of these are like from me booking them on TV years ago and maintaining contact and be like, hey, you know me from here. Now I have a podcast. And so I think that sort of maybe gives them a little traction. But yeah, he was fantastic. Very candid. And that real world experience really messed him up for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then a lot of comedians like Margaret Cho, I'm always like, my favorites are female comedians, Margaret Cho, Judy Gold, Kim Whitley, a lot of authors. So it's been really fun.
You actually got Margaret Cho on too?
Yes, she was fantastic. She was on my dream list.
Yeah, she's on my list too. So I did the same. So I have I'll call him a podcast advisor who I meet with once a week, and he advises like a bunch of influencers in LA and podcast hosts, and I think he won't tell me his clients because they're all, but I've guessed that he's got some actually really big podcasters that he manages. And he told me to write a wish list. And I came back with a wish list. He's like, yeah, this isn't a wish list. These are people you could get. Like, what's your real wish list? And so the following week, I came back with like 30 people. Margaret Cho was actually on there. But I was really going for it. And I was embarrassed almost to say some of them.
I have huge ones on my wish list too. Yeah.
I had Madonna.
Has she ever done a podcast?
She just did a podcast with Jay Shetty.
Yes. Her. I listened to some of that. It was one of those spiritual talks.
Yes, and I didn't mean that's not at all the format or what I would want to talk about, but I'm glad she did it. She has a new record coming out, so there's a chance that maybe she'll say, I'll do a little bit of here and there, but I don't know.
She'd be a tough one, but hey, keep your dreams alive.
She would be a tough one because I don't usually get nervous during interviews. I think she would make me... I would be very nervous with her.
She was my favorite growing up until about 10 or 11. And then I got into really, Alanis Morissette became my number one. But yeah, I mean, everyone loves Madonna. My gosh, we grew up with her.
Yeah, exactly. And so so that's kind of my thing. But I'm so impressed you got Margaret Cho and it's just because you worked with them on your previous job?
Yeah, just working in journalism for so long because I was always in charge of booking all my guests on the shows too. So I was always in touch with publicists and managers. And a lot of times it was people that were coming to the DC area to play comedy shows or music. So that's sort of how I maintain those contacts. So I'm sure you'll land her. She was delightful.
Yeah. There's lots of people. So when you kind of look back at your time, whenever you were, working for the local news station in DC, I mean, how did that kind of help you build up, I want to call it courage in a way to kind of go off and like, all right, I'm 40. I want to do this on my own. Like it's my world now. Like, did that help you kind of seeing like these journalists and seeing these interviews and being behind in the control room to be able to feel confident enough to go out and be in front of the camera?
For sure. And I also just think time and aging, you get more confident with age. But when I first started in TV, I think I suffered from I was fearful. I was like, I don't know enough. I'm too old to start over in my career. And I had some of that imposter syndrome. I struggled with a bit of that. Yes. I struggled with imposter syndrome. Like, oh, I'm not this guy on camera. So I never was on camera until recently. I just thought I'm behind the scenes. I don't have the personality. I don't have the drive to be on, I'm like sitting in the background, the wallflower. But by the time I was 40, I was like, stop caring what people think. I've been through a lot. You go through a lot as you age. You lose people. I'm divorced. So I think everything reshapes you and you realize what is truly like matters in life and what is make or break. And most things are pretty small in the grand scheme. So put yourself out there and have fun. And what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to trip up or not look great. Then you just improve the next time. It's just things just don't matter as much.
I swear we're on the same path because I love it that you said you kind of lose people and you get rid of them. Because I've talked about this on my show a couple of times where when I turned 50, I like purged friends. Like I got rid of so many because I'm like, they're not, I don't know, something happened to me where I just like, I'm like, they're not, I don't need them in my life anymore, or they're not giving as much as I'm giving, or they're taking and not giving at all. And kind of just let some people go. Is that kind of what you were doing as well?
Yeah, I think it's easy to recalibrate the older you get and realize I think I'm putting in more effort toward this friendship. And even if you take a step back, I found a lot of times like, will this person put in much effort if I take a step back and not just take the reins and
Mm-hmm.
sort of be the one fostering the relationship? And it's pretty fast to see who is in your true corner. I think I have a big social group. Like I have trivia groups. I have lots of friends that I go out with. But when it comes down to it, like who are these lifelong ride or dies and who are these ones that I'm having intimate conversations with that truly know me outside of laughs and having fun? It's not that many. And I think that's sort of how I've always been, just to have a
Yeah.
core close knit group of friends. And then everyone else is sort of fun. But maybe, I'm not as, I'm a little hesitant to really open myself up with people. So I because you do lose a lot of people. So I have
Yeah.
friends that I feel I'm a good judge of character and that are going to be there for the long one. And so those are the ones worth investing in. And it doesn't have to be a sad thing when friendships fall by the wayside. As you always hear, it's like friends are here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I embrace those ones that are just here for a season because it's good
Yeah.
times, but it doesn't mean you have to part on bad ways. They're just not, the lifelong people.
Yeah. Yep. Totally get it. Can we talk about divorce? Because, I think not that marriage is new for same sex marriage or LGBTQ plus, but it is, it's only been a little over 10 years that it's been legal federally. So, divorce isn't as common or heard about as much. So I have a friend that is going through divorce right now. How did that change you or I mean, is it? I guess it's just like a straight couple would change, right? But like,
Yeah.
tell me, like, what was the defining moment? You're like, okay, I got to step out of this.
Mm. That's tough. So I've been divorced for about 3 years now, and we got married in 2015. So when it was like legalized, it
Yeah.
was already previously legal in Maryland where we lived. So that wasn't
Mm,
a big deal. But we were together 12 years, married 8 years, and you change so much from your 20s to 30s, 30s to
yep.
40s. And we're not the same people that we were when we met. I think I was 26, he was 30. And by the time we divorced, I was 38, he was 42, 44, 43. And gay relationships can be complicated. I don't think I really got out of my shell as far as being a gay man probably until my late 30s, probably till my
Okay.
divorce. I was always so relationship oriented. I was in a 6-year relationship from 17 to 23, 24, and then met my husband at 26 and was with him through my late 30s.
Right. You
So
never had your slut phase.
I know that's what I really needed. And the other thing is that I was never immersed in the gay community. Like my ex-husband, we just weren't in it. I don't think he was fully comfortable being in it. And the
Okay.
older I got, I was like, we need to build community. Like all our straight friends are getting married and having kids, and we can't just
Yeah.
have these friends in our family. Like we need to grow old with some gay men. I want that. And that was a big reason that things weren't clicking. And then, with gay relationships, you test the waters with certain things, whether it's monogamy or open relationships. And
Yeah.
so I think that was a big learning lesson in the end. And I would probably chalk it all up in the end to just communication and being in different mindsets the older we got and realizing it was more of a friendship, roommate ship.
Yeah.
And looking back with more objectivity 3 years from now, you can see all the warning signs along the way that you just
Yeah.
didn't catch. And now but just like friendships, you know how to improve upon them next time. So I don't have any ill feelings toward my ex-husband. We're not in touch. I'm
Yeah.
proud of my marriage, but it's a kind of bittersweet thing to look back on when you have someone in your life day in and day out for 12 years, and then you're kind of strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you what you think about I feel like I have one couple that I'm friends with that are gay that are monogamous. Everyone else is in an open relationship or they're single and they're on Grinder or Sniffies or whatever 24/7, I feel. We went to last summer. We went to Provincetown. There was a group of like 9 of us or something, and we were sitting at a dinner table or getting ready, waiting for our food to come out, and I'm the only one sitting at the table, not on Grinder or Sniffies or whatever. And it was like just a constant search the entire 5 days we were in Provincetown. So my question is, what do you think about the whole open relationship versus being monogamous? Or, I mean, I feel like everyone's in an open relationship now.
Most people that I know are, if they're gay. I think in a way it's something that the gay community has kind of mastered, because a lot of people do make it work. I think we're seeing some of the trickle effects right now, because you're able to see people getting divorced now. But as far as making it work, most couples that I do know that have been together many, many years who are open seem to have worked out the kinks. I think the thing that didn't work, or that I would probably have the most trouble with, is when you're in an open relationship that is emotional. So, I read a book called Open Monogamy, and it's all about like setting the rules for you and your partner. I think what's hardest for me is when there's dating in a relationship. Dating when you're married, going to dinner with someone and having intimate conversations with a secondary partner, and your husband's at home, or having a sleepover with someone and your husband's at home. That gets really tricky because there's emotions. There could be love involved. One thing that I think many men do well is that they can disconnect that. So they're like, okay, we can have an open relationship. These are the rules. It's hookups only, or it's playing together only. There's no secrets. You can read my text messages. You can see my Grinder. And I think that's a way to get around it, because the emotion seems to be detached. But when you're having these private one-on-one dates, that I couldn't handle that. That didn't work out for me. But I mean, I am in a relationship now for the last year and a half, and we're exploring. But again, you learn what to do better the next time. So I think I'm building off of past mistakes and finding common ground.
Yeah. I have these guys I've known for over 20 years are together. I think they're probably just celebrated their 18th, not wedding anniversary, but being together anniversary. And one of them had a boyfriend, like full-on boyfriend, for 4.5 years, and like would go do, like you were saying, going to dinner and spending the night and all this other stuff. They're still married, but the boyfriend relationship thing really ended horribly. So it was an experiment which I don't think they would do again. I think hooking up is one thing. Having a boyfriend, like you said, is quite another. So
yeah, because are you sharing the same things with your husband as your boyfriend? Is one thing that I learned is there are those secondary relationships, primary, but I think it gets muddled because when you're in a new relationship and you're like, oh no, they're secondary, it's also you're in that exciting new love phase. So you're actually probably more excited to be with them.
Yeah.
And that gets scary. I think it also leads to, for me, a lot of anxiety. Am I slowly losing my partner to this new person? Yeah. Are we all hanging out together? That's another weird dynamic I couldn't really handle, especially if it's let's all hang out together, but I'm only sleeping with you. It's like, okay, it's three's company in that sense. But I also know some people that are in thruples that make it work. That's not for me, but I am up for having fun.
Yeah. I feel like we could do a whole show or a whole series on this probably.
Oh my gosh, it's complicated. But wait, are you in a relationship right now?
Yes. So I'm in a relationship. We have been together 27 years.
Oh my.
Yeah. And we are monogamous, and that's just how we have always been.
Monogamous for 27 years.
Yes. Monogamous. We were together probably 3 or 6 months when we first met. I think I was 25 when we met. Yeah. And we talked about, I think we were going to DC for our first like trip together, because we were living in New York, and we were going to do a DC, because he went to school at GW. Mm-hmm. So we were driving down and going to spend the weekend, and we talked about, oh, what would it be like to have, a 3-way with somebody, like meet somebody and like whatever. We talked about it. I forgot how the conversation went, but I think we both basically said, No, it's like, well, I don't want to see you with somebody else. And I mean, in fantasy world, it sounds hot, but like actually seeing him be with somebody else, like I couldn't do it. So I was the type of boyfriend when we first met. I lived in Miami, moved to New York. We met shortly after I moved to New York, and we were going out to gay bars. We went out to like 4 gay bars, and some guy came up and was flirting with him, and I almost got in a fight with the guy. We got kicked out, and then we went to the next bar. The same shit happened. He's like, I've never been to a gay bar where somebody starts a fight. Like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, I don't know. I just get jealous. And so I think I had too much of a jealousy, which, I'm not jealous obviously like that anymore. I'm not starting fights in bars either. So
No, we're a peaceful group, but I think that's beautiful that you've been monogamous forever. I actually thought I would be, like in my marriage and earlier relationships throughout my 20s. Again, you change. And I think the later in my 30s get, you, especially with more confidence, you sort of want to take on more and feel you can handle more, and maybe you feel yourself more. I think also body image with gay men for me specifically, I had a lot of body image issues throughout my teens and 20s and even early 30s that I didn't really feel comfortable being out there. I don't think I took my shirt off at the beach till I was in my 30s. So like sex and feeling sexual was not a big part of my youth. And I think with that confidence and being more comfortable in your skin, the older you get, it comes with a little more sexual desire. And so those conversations sometimes have to be had. And I'm the same way with you. Like my first threesome, I probably used the wrong word, but like afterward, I was like, we had fun, but I was also like, that was also a little traumatic watching your partner with someone else. And you can get in your head a little bit. So the first time is a little tricky. I probably shouldn't have used the word traumatic, but I did. And but you learn maybe what worked, what do you not want to do next time, or so it does take a lot of practice. I'm kidding.
Yeah. And when I say we've been together for 27 years, I'm not saying it's always been, rainbows and unicorns the entire 27 years. So there's been, and I should say that we've done 18 moves together in 27 years.
My gosh.
So we went to Switzerland for a year, and New York and Boston and Miami and Philly. I mean, we've done a lot of moving around for my job mostly.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel like if you can survive 18 moves, you can survive anything. So.
Yeah. Are you around the same age?
He is 2.5 years older than me.
Okay.
2 years and 2 months or 3 months. So
but it sounds like you guys are on the same page with a lot of that.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I mean, we've been together 27 years, and we're definitely an old married couple at this point. Went this weekend and we're looking to buy another house. We're renting now. We want to buy a house again. So, but we're thinking about, this is the house that we'll live in for the rest of our lives, maybe.
That's beautiful. Do you have pets?
But we have cats.
Okay.
What about you?
I have 3 rescue dogs. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't know. We'll see, we'll see what happens with the house, and we're not leaving the Boston area. I just can't leave again. I can't do a big move again. I don't have it in me. So
find your forever home.
Find my forever home. So I want to go back and ask you a little bit more about your work, because you won an Emmy.
Yeah, I've won 2 local Emmys, but in the DC area.
That's amazing. So how did that must have been life-changing. I mean,
yeah. So when I worked at local ABC a few years ago, I produced the morning show, and then I also helped develop a couple shows. So I produced a pet show. I produced an educational show that we did for students during the pandemic when everyone was homeschooling. And then I created a show called The Mother Side, which on our morning show, we used to have a lot of local moms come in, and I've always just been drawn to moms. I'm a one of 6. I'm the oldest of 6 boys, and very close with my mom. And so I started building this community of moms that would come in once a week and have these panel discussions. And then I pitched the news director, let's create a pilot, like a 30-minute presentation. And then we ended up making 15 or so episodes of these mother side episodes. And I submitted it for the local Emmy for Best Interview Series, and it won. And that was just fun. And I'm still in touch with so many of these women.
Awesome.
I think moms are just a treasure. They're this global treasure. So they talked about the highs and lows of parenthood and everything that's going on. And then when I was at my last station, I won the Emmy for Best Live Producer of the Year.
Wow. That's amazing. Like you should be so proud of that.
I am. I mean, I'm pretty. I'm not one to be in the spotlight like that, but it was exciting. I didn't go to the event. I stayed home and watched it on YouTube, but it was fun to see my friend pick up my Emmy and smile for the
Yeah.
camera.
Do you
I have
wish that
him.
you would have went?
It's not really my thing. I'm not,
Okay.
it's fun to get them, but no, I don't need to get all dressed up and go to an award show. I love watching them. Watch the Golden Globes
Yeah.
last night for sure.
And they have a podcast category now, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, Amy Poehler won. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to ask you about working with Dr. Phil. How was that? Because now where he is today as Dr. Phil was not probably the same Dr. Phil you worked with.
No. And I remember I was in my final year of college and I was applying for internships and I got the call like 2 weeks before and they were like, can you come? And I lived here and I was like, okay. And I literally just packed up my car and drove across country, interned there for 3 months and never met him. So that says something. No, just worked on the producer teams and saw him walking around, but he never did like a formal meeting with the interns. But like, that's not the type of show that I really long to work on, but it was a good experience. It was fun.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting to see these national shows have like 30, 40 producers and like 4 working on an episode at a time. And then to go into local news where I was doing my own show every day by myself and booking 5 or 6 guests. So it's cool to see it's interesting to see these national shows, how much goes into them and then what little resources you have on a local level and what you can still get done and the people you can still book. But I wouldn't say Dr. Phil was my favorite experience. No.
What do you like doing like what you're doing now? And are you doing it all yourself or do you have help?
I do it all myself. So I produce, I book, I edit, and then I do all the social media clips. So it takes a while to, I think, build an audience. The market is so saturated. But I'm having fun, and the guests I'm getting for not being a big name are pretty awesome. I'm trying to think of some other people I've had on, like Danny Pellegrino, like one of my favorite podcasters, Judy Gold, one of my favorite comedians, Phoebe Robinson. Next week I have Naomi Ekperigin. I have Tiffany from the 80s. She was just on.
Oh God, she's really like all over my TikTok now.
Yes, and she was fantastic, and she's still out there wearing the 80s outfits and performing. I think we're alone now all over the world. So it's fun to see who you're talking with, and it like Tom Arnold was on my show last week, and to like to try to talk to someone who's been in the industry for 40 years and condense that, it's always a fun challenge, like to do all the research and figure out what can I talk to them about to encapsulate their entire career. It's a challenge, but I love it.
Did he bring up Roseanne at all?
It was a big part of our conversation. He was so candid about like who Roseanne is then and who she is now and all the politics and Trump and because he's very anti-Trump. And then we also spoke about like his time on Roseanne where he was trying to get off drugs and was very fidgety. And now he's a single dad with 4 ex-wives and he was very candid.
Yeah.
But yeah, like other people, like Candace was on my show last week. If you like Real Housewives, which I never was watching, but I just got in last year. So I've like watched dozens and dozens of Housewives episodes. They are pretty addictive.
They are addictive. I had Leanne from the Real Housewives of Dallas on my show, and that episode did so well. And she was so real on my show. Like she didn't care what I asked. I could ask her anything I wanted. And
yeah, I'm like obsessed with Dorinda Medley right now. I'm like, I want to talk to her.
Yes, Dorinda, I think would be an awesome guest. Any other housewife you would like to do?
I'm in touch with Monique Samuels because I used to work with her a lot in DC. So I know like all the Potomac housewives. I actually used to work with Ashley Darby for 2 years because she was a co-host on one of my morning shows. And I worked with Stacey Rush for a year, who's now getting all the coverage as this QV. Really nice to work with. And I think I was the first one to put her on TV. She started actually in those mom panels that I was booking. And then now look at what she's become. But I'm not a super big reality star, but I'll do my research and have fun.
Yeah.
Like Carson Kressley was on my show. Ross Matthews, he's a big influence.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I love it that, and when they come on, are you just saying, let's talk about whatever you want? Is it just a conversation? Is that how you're
Yeah, I
kind of
try to kind of
doing?
go through their whole career and like especially the highlights that I like. Sometimes I'll do a rapid fire of like all these roles that they have in their IMDb. What are the highlights? What's the first thing that comes to mind? And then I always ask because the show's called The Tangle. What are you currently tangled in that you're loving, immersing yourself in, binge watching, reading? And then what's something frustrating that you're going through right now that you need to get untangled from? And
Yeah.
then we also talk about just the state of the world a lot because a lot of it is LGBTQ focused and we're in such
Yeah.
dark times, not just our community, but every minority in the world.
Yeah.
So I try to
Yeah.
ask people, how are they maintaining hope right now? Because I think that's something we all could use a lot more of.
Yeah.
And we have some pretty incredible answers. So it kind of levels us as well.
I love the whole Real Housewives of Potomac, how they're all coming out, they went to the Pride Parade and a couple episodes ago. And just like, I love how the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City are all very, except one of them, I think, they're all very pro LGBTQ plus. So
Absolutely.
it's kind of
Yeah.
amazing. And Leanne from the Real Housewives, I met her when I lived in Dallas for a year and a half, which wasn't fun. But she was at all these events. She really is who she says she is who she really is, because she was such a supporter of the community. So she's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I loved how Potomac went to Pride, and yeah, they all the Potomac housewives. They're all very LGBTQ Pride plus. I think most of the Salt Lake girls are. Definitely Heather Gay, definitely Meredith Marks. She's always out there at Pride events and championing.
Bronwyn is 100%.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they really all have to be. They're working with Bravo. I'm sure all their makeup artists are gay. I can't imagine them not being, but then that also, I don't think always translates to who they're voting for.
Exactly. Like there were some Real Housewives of New York that I was actually a little disappointed in when I found out who they were voting for. And then Orange County, this is the same thing.
Ramona.
Ramona. Yeah, she's disappointing. So that's how it goes. What kind of, whenever you're talking with somebody, what's the moment that stuck out the most to you whenever you were talking with somebody? You're like, oh my God, I can't believe this person just shared that. That's amazing. Or you were shocked about what they shared.
Everyone is pretty candid. If they're agreeing to sit down with you for 40 minutes or an hour, I think they're pretty open. I don't usually get notes of please don't bring this up, which I love, because I would respect that. I'm not a gotcha type of journalist. I'm not here to make any drama. I think a lot of Tom Arnold was very candid about his drug use, and me blatantly asking, is it true that you were high in some episodes? Because you seem very fidgety and anxious. Jessica St. Clair recently talking about her cancer journey when she had breast cancer and was filming shows and right after having a baby. Health stuff is always interesting for me when people open up about that, because it is so personal, and to sit across from someone and have them spread their guts to you is pretty. It's an honor. I think. And then a lot of times we're talking about failure, because especially in the entertainment industry, it's just full of rejection and things that didn't work. And a lot of these, maybe I'll talk about a show that they were on that I loved that was canceled too soon. And being honest about like the pain that went through and the anxiety that they suffered from that, or rejection. Like I've talked to Phoebe Robinson, who's now a 3-time author and has her own imprint helping minority authors, and how no one wanted her first book, which Please Don't Touch My Hair, because they didn't think people read Black female authors. And now she's sort of proving them wrong. So I love to get to the underbelly of how they made it and sort of defied the odds. That's one of my favorites. And inspirational, especially as I start this chapter over at 40.
Yeah. So what does success look like for you though? So what would be your ultimate, you're like, I made it. This is what I wanted.
In a way, I feel like I have made it, because there's no like grand illusion of me becoming famous or this big name. It's really just being able to do what I love and support myself. So, pretty candidly, I left TV last April. I got a job as a technical writer just because I needed some more balance, and I didn't want to wake up at 3 a.m. every day and report on the Trump administration and murders in DC. Like the lifestyle stuff was my favorite stuff. And then in November, I was laid off from that job. I think they had hiring freezes. AI is taking over. And I think that was sort of an awakening for me. Like, okay, Kyle, try to figure this out yourself. You don't want to go to a 9 to 5 ever again. You don't want to be stuck in an office. One
Yeah.
thing I want flexibility to work at home, do my podcast. And I think it's becoming a gig economy now. So now I'm just sort of launched my media company where have some clients that I help get on TV, like helping them get on local stations throughout the country. And then started my podcast, which hopefully will lead to bigger things. But yeah, I don't want to be tied to one company anymore. I want to just prove that I can make it myself. And I am so far, but in the same way, you're always working for your next gig. What's your next gig
Yeah.
going to be? Which I'm enjoying. So that's sort of my journey right now, is proving I can do things on my own. I don't need to be tied to a boss for the rest of my life. I want to be my own boss. So right now I'm happy. And I have my dogs and I have my house. And I have my health.
Yeah. Would you ever want to do, would you ever want to sign with like an iHeartRadio or a Sirius XM, or, Alex Cooper just signed with Andy Cohen's podcast thing. Would you ever want to do something like that?
I would love to be part of a formal network. I don't think I'm big enough yet. I think you have to have a certain amount of downloads per episode. And also, what are there, like 4 million some podcasts? I don't really know how to penetrate the market enough to be like, oh, sign me. But I've only had my podcast for 6 months. So that's a goal. Are you with a network?
Kind of. No, I'm not. I should say my ad platform is part of SiriusXM.
Okay.
But I'm not like on SiriusXM, if that makes sense. So just the platform that host my show and everything, and then my ad network is through them. So
okay. Yeah.
I
haven't even researched any of that. I just do it all myself. There's no ads. It's all free. I spend money to obviously get it on all the platforms and the riverside of it all.
Yeah. Let's talk after the show and I can give you some guidance. So, I look at some of these podcasts, I look at Alex Cooper, I think she's maybe not exactly like who I would have my interview style, but I love it that she has all these amazing, celebrity guests and stuff, and she can kind of get whoever she wants at this point. So I love that. Joe Rogan, I like some of his topics, but I love it that he's made that much money doing a podcast and he can kind of get who he wants now too. So it's some of his topics don't always resonate with me, but I just love it that he's so successful like that. So those are, and there's some, I know you're not a reality person, but there's a Paige DeSorbo and she's a comedian and they were on this show Summer House together.
Yes, I think I know who you're talking about. Yes.
God, why can't I think of her name? It completely escaped me. But they started a podcast and then they did a 50-city tour in the U.S. and they came to Boston and did a live. Well, I know they didn't do a podcast. They did a kind of a Q&A, put a PowerPoint presentation, talked, and they made a lot of money in that one. And they did it 50 times in 50 different cities. So,
a lot are doing that now. I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper came to Boston about in November and did something similar, and we went to, and I'm like, how fun is this?
Andy's definitely on my dream list. I'm having his friend on in a couple weeks, John Arthur Hill.
Oh my God, John is so hot too.
Oh my gosh, yes, they're exes, right?
They are, but they're really I kind of wish that they were together, and there's rumors, but they're definitely not together. But John is so hot.
He's so hot. I think Andy likes a younger guy.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Andy dated one of my friends that lives in Boston. So he was younger. So,
well, Andy also owns his daddy vibe.
Oh yeah, he totally owns it. Yeah. And I thought he looked great on New Year's. People were like, oh, he had work done. I'm like, no, I think he just had some makeup on. Maybe he said he got some Botox and
lost a lot of weight. And he also is on GLP-1s or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And his hair it's longer. I thought he had a.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to fool anyone. He's very honest.
No,
he'll let us know.
Yeah, I think it's so funny whenever I just read some of these comments about what people say. Are you getting any kind of trolls or anything on your comments on things whenever you're posting clips?
Not really. Sometimes I'll get trolls if I post a clip of a political clip, like Judy Gold, who is a very outspoken comedian, and we did touch on some politics and the Israel-Palestine situation. So that's obviously going to get some division. But I usually try to make my clips pretty fun. And if there's anything negative said, it's usually about the person I interviewed in their comment.
Yeah, there's this guy, I don't know, you may even know him. His name is Benjamin Smith, and he is a realtor here in Boston. You have to go to my Instagram page or go to him. I think it's Ben on the bill. Um, and he is a real estate guy who's 38 years old, and he wears full foundation makeup, long nails, and he goes and gives apartment tours. Like he gives a quick in East Boston is mostly where he focuses. And everyone knows him in Boston. And so when I went to the Anderson Cooper Andy Cohen show, I'm looking at my Instagram, I'm showing my friend Amy. I'm like, "Oh, do you know who Ben is?" She goes, "Oh yeah, of course." And there's a guy sitting behind us. He's like, "Oh, I made a comment on, I got like 5,000 likes on my comment on his Instagram." And so I'm like, I should reach out to this guy and see if he wants to be interviewed. And he did, and he came on, and he was everything and more that I wanted him to be. So I put out his post, and I think I got 182 comments on the one post, and people were mostly nice, but there are of course some of the trolls that saying he looks like an Oompa Loompa with too much makeup on and stuff, and just stupid shit like that. And I'm just like, why do you got to come in here and say stuff like that? So
Yeah, I can understand disagreements on posts, but leave looks out of it. I think that's so
yeah.
immature. Yeah. I was looking at who you were following. We do love a lot of the same people. I mean, we're gay men. So Madonna, of course, Matt Bomer, Niecy Nash, Sandra Bernhardt. She's actually, I'm in talks with her to come on my show.
Jesus Christ, you have the best one. I would love Sandra.
Adam Rippon, Bridget Everett, Jeff Hiller. I had Jeff Hiller on my show. He's actually my most downloaded episode, Jeff Hiller.
Man, I reached out to Jeff, nothing.
Kathy Griffin, Rosie O'Donnell is like top 3 probably. I grew up watching her every single day after school. Wendy McClendon Covey, she was on my show. Matt Rogers, I'm in touch with him right now. He's going through some stuff. He's going through some stuff.
The people. These are people on my dream list that you've interviewed already. So good for you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, people need to listen. I'm sure I have nowhere near as many downloads as you. Oh, Heather McMahon. I love Heather McMahon.
Oh, I love her too. I love Heather. So she's
so fun.
She's so fun. And yes, Rosie O'Donnell, I have her email address, and I had a picture of her and Madonna. I think I took it when I lived in Miami, and I seen them together. And I think it was before cell phones. So it was like a real camera, and like I got them all scanned. And she's like, "Oh, send it to me." And so she says, "Here's my email." So I had her email, sent it, and then like, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, I sent her an email. I'm like, "Hey, I sent you this picture of you and Madonna that you wanted, and you posted it on your Instagram or your TikTok or whatever. Like, do you want to come on my show?" And zero, nothing.
She reads her DMs though. I see. I've sent her stuff and it always says seen. She's always on social. Oh my gosh.
Always on social. So yeah, I would love to have her on, but you've had some amazing people. Tell everyone what the name of your podcast is again, and I will also put a link to your podcast in the description
Thank you.
of this video or podcast so people can go check you out.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called The Tangle with Kyle Ridley. So we're always tangled in the highs and lows of life. We like to go deep and then we go shallow. We cover it all.
Cool. And anything. So I avoid politics. I try to avoid politics as much as I can. Do you kind of just you get into whatever?
I don't talk politics. I think my listeners know my politics, but as far as politics go, I sort of just refer to the world in general being a dumpster fire and asking people, how are you maintaining hope? How can you give us some hope? Yeah. And then we just talk about gay stuff and heated rivalry.
Okay, so can we talk about that? And then
who's your favorite?
Definitely the Russian.
Okay.
Connor's my favorite.
Okay. Francois is my favorite. So Scott is my favorite, but then Connor. I mean, I think Connor should win an Oscar someday. He's a fantastic actor.
He's so good. So I watched the first episode of Heated Rivalry, and I'm like, it's getting me. It turned me on, and that was it. And I was just like, this is like softcore porn. So like, I'm not into it. And then I have 2 straight friends that are girls, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm like, you're watching this, right?" I'm like, "No, I barely got through the first episode. Like, it's just like, I think they're like, "No, you have to watch it. How could you not watch it?" And then I started looking on social media, and it started coming up how all these straight guys are watching it and loving it, and how all these women are watching it. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'll give it another chance. So when I got to episode 3 and then 4, then 5, I like died. I couldn't believe episode 5. And then the cottage episode with the 6th episode.
So
Like,
beautiful.
It's such a good story.
I love that the world is like, it's unprecedented how much the world is embracing this show. We need it more. I think it's speaking volumes. I hope people listen. But
Yes.
it's such a beautiful show. Episode 5, I think it's the highest rated episode of all time now, as far as
It
like
is.
ratings.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm
Perfect
so
10.
happy. And it's perfect timing just where we are with the world, especially, with everything that's happening and stuff. And it's kind of giving me a little bit of hope with things. So, anyway.
Of course. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I have a crush on all of them. Who is your current celebrity crush? That's something I also ask a lot of my guests.
My favorite celebrity crush is definitely Jacob Elordi.
Oh, okay. Yes. He's gorgeous. My gosh. Tall. And another fantastic actor. He just disappears in every role.
Yeah, he was up for a what was on last night? The Golden Globes last night. And I'm just like, God, I just hope he does it just so I can just see him. But he did win a Critics' Choice Award, the week before. So I got to see him, and he's going to be in Euphoria, which is coming out, I think, in a few months or something. So I can't wait for that. But who's your favorite?
And I love Euphoria, but I didn't really fall in love with him until like Saltburn.
Okay, yeah.
My biggest celebrity crush right now is Paul Mescal.
Okay.
He's just gorgeous, and he's such a beautiful actor. And I loved him in Normal People a few years ago, and all the choices he's making, they're all just beautiful. I need to see Hamnet. I haven't watched it yet, but I think he's incredible. But I also love older gentlemen as well. So Francois he did Rivalry. He's 40. Most people don't know that. That's not old. I know. Well, I'm 41. I also love a John Hamm. I love a daddy vibe.
I love a John Hamm too.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love a daddy. I mean, give me a hairy chest. Someone with a hairy chest and a beard. I'm here.
Okay. What if Andy Cohen knocked on your door? Would you open it?
I think Andy Cohen is gorgeous. I think we might not be sexually compatible based on what he has shared, but I think two daddies can have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Rogers is also gorgeous.
Yeah, he just announced his relationship. He actually just got in a little bit of trouble though, because
I know he's okay. He's sorry. It was just a slip up.
Yeah.
And people don't really get canceled anymore. Like,
yeah,
that was like a thing. They come back now.
Yeah. And Kathy Griffin came back, and I'm so happy she came back because...
Me too. I want to get her on my podcast. I interviewed her many, many years ago, like when I was in print journalism, but they were all phone interviews. But she is doing a lot of press because she's going on another like 50-city tour, and she's not selling out everywhere. So she's very open to talking. I know she always gets in trouble, but she's so like, fuck it at this point, which I respect. Yeah, I know. I respect it too. And I just respect her. And I think she's so funny. And I wanted Nikki Glaser on my show also, but I think after she did she killed it last night. She was so good. I'm like, she's going to be too big now. So, but so funny story. She's my favorite comedian, and I used to listen to her podcast every day. She had a daily podcast, and before the roast that she did a couple years ago, that Tom Brady roast, she was responsive. Like, you could DM her and you could message her. And she used to even have a thing on her podcast where she was like, if you're a bestie of the podcast, just let me know, DM me, and I'll let you come and do a meet and greet at the show. And so I met her on my birthday a couple years ago. And then she did my morning TV show a couple times and was always so talkative. And as soon as that Tom Brady happened, I DM'd her. I said, you're going to get too famous. And now she is.
She's too famous. Yeah. she killed it on the Tom Brady roast too. She was the funniest one out of all of them.
She is. She's a master, and she's in her 40s now, and just someone who just gets better and better and better.
Yeah, I loved her reality show too.
Her boyfriend's hot, Chris Convey.
Yeah, he is hot.
He is short king.
Yeah, exactly. Kyle, you're amazing. I'm so glad that we got to talk.
We'll have to. We'll keep in touch.
We definitely need to keep in touch. And if you're ever in Boston, please come. I'll take you to dinner for doing my podcast. So thank you so much.
I'll have to go. Yeah, I've actually never been to Provincetown, so.
What?
It's on my list. I know. Well, I told you I wasn't like super in the gay scene up until 3 years ago.
Okay, we definitely need to talk off the air because there are certain weeks that you should go that you will be a hit with all the boys there. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Judy Gold, she does like a residency there in the summer
yeah,
because she lives there in the summer. So I have many reasons to go. Yeah. I see.
yeah.
I go to Rehoboth. That's where I go.
Yeah, I've been to Rehoboth maybe once or twice. It's completely different vibe though.
Yeah.
But Provincetown also is getting. You could go to Europe and go to Italy and spend the same amount of money that you would spend in a week in Provincetown. It's so expensive now, but
Got to get a house with a bunch of people.
yeah, you got to do a house or just you go for a long weekend. But the ferry is so easy; it's an hour and a half ferry from Boston, so it's great.
I'm here for it. Plan it this summer.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being on, everybody. Please be sure to go check out Kyle's podcast. I mean, you can hear his list of guests that he has. It's amazing. And he's been in the industry for a long time. So it's an amazing show. So please support Kyle. So thanks so much for being on, Kyle.
Thank you, Zach. Really appreciate it.